Four candidates faced each other in the fourth and final Republican debate as battle lines are drawn ahead of key Republican vote in the state of Iowa. News Nation TV network carried this debate, and some believe that Nikki Haley was targeted mostly because she's been surging. Haley's growth in the GOP race has been accredited to her performance in previous debates. Not surprisingly, Wednesday's debate started with a target on Haley's back. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy took on the former U.S. ambassador to the UN over her recent funding haul, accusing her of corruption and questioning her corporate links.
Nikki, I don't have a woman problem. You have a corruption problem. And I think that that's what people need to know. Nikki is corrupt. This is a woman who will send your kids to die so she can buy a bigger house.
I have delivered results. That's what we need for this country. And you have other candidates up here like Nikki Haley. She caves anytime the left comes after her, anytime the media comes after her.
Nikki Haley's momentum captured the attention of several traditional donors as she managed to project herself as the most viable alternative to former U.S. President Donald Trump. In the latest, she had managed to get a $250,000 donation from billionaire donor Reid Hoffman. Interestingly, Hoffman is believed to be a prominent Democrat. Earlier this month, Haley received key endorsements from the powerful Koch family.
And in terms of these donors that are supporting me, they're just jealous. They wish that they were supporting them, but I'm not going to sit there and
on the stage who isn't bought and paid.
While Vivek Ramaswamy and Ron DeSantis continued with their attacks, in a rare moment of unity, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie defended Haley during the debate.
I've had enough. I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid.
I've known her for 12 years, which is longer than he's even started to vote in a Republican primary. And while we disagree about some issues and we disagree about who should be president of the United States, what we don't disagree on is this is a smart, accomplished woman, and you should stop insulting.
Former President Donald Trump is leading by more than 40 percentage points in most opinion polls. He continued with his strategy of skipping TV debates, instead attending a fundraiser event in his home state of Florida. All right, for more on this, we are being joined by Mark Merowitz, professor at State University of New York, Maritime College. Mark is joining us from New York. Mark, great to see you. The race for second place continues. Haley gets money from a Democrat donor, and this has proven to be significant in a way. Can you talk to us about that?
Well, I mean, the motivation for the donor here, and it's $250,000, and it's because he is a well-known antagonist against Trump. So he believes perhaps that if he supports Haley, Haley can knock Trump out. So it's not really the support like which you talked about from the Koch family, which is very conservative to boost Haley's chances to become the nominee. But what's interesting about this debate, and it was really quite extraordinary because everybody was attacking everybody. I was making a list of who attacked whom. So Vivek attacked everybody. He particularly attacked DeSantis, he attacked Haley, and he really let Christie have it when he basically said to him, you know, you had that scandal with the bridge, you should go get a meal and get off the stage. Then DeSantis attacked Haley, Christie attacked Trump, then Christie defended Haley, and on and on. So it was just an absolutely off-the-wall debate. But I think a lot of it was about Haley, and she is perceived. A perception is very, very important. She is perceived to be surging. Now, what does that exactly mean? We're really not sure, because there was an article in the Wall Street Journal recently by Gerald Seib. He predicted that Trump will get the nomination and will win the election by taking the Electoral College, but losing the popular vote. So who knows? But clearly Haley's perceived to be, and even Christie defended Haley. So we have a lot of dynamics here. I think that Vivek's points, and then Christie attacked him as a blowhard and so forth. I think he comes across very, very strong in terms of his mannerism. And a lot of these things in American politics are all about manners and demeanor and perception and how you come across on television. And I think he heats this up so much you really can't listen to what he's really saying. As far as DeSantis, I think the best comment I read was the one in the New York Post today, where they said he was no more Mr. Sunshine. Now, Mr. Sunshine, he's never been Mr. Sunshine. He's just not the most pleasant person around. Of course, he touts his benefits and all of his accomplishments. But if you look at Haley, I think she's really positioned herself very, very well, even on the abortion issue, which is a very hot ticket issue for Republicans. And again, people that certainly I didn't take a whole poll, but I was speaking to people, and they seem to perceive her rise. So that's very, very important, her surge. So I think at the end of the day, it's really it's up in the air, but then Trump is way, way ahead, as you say. So all bets are off.
Yeah, let's see what happens in Iowa. You talk about how mannerism and perception is so important. Vivek seems to always get the attention, at least on social media. He has those one-liners and whatnot. How do you see Vivek's rise in taking a stance and not criticizing the former president? Not that the other ones do anyway, except Christie. And then you have Christie, who hardly had enough points to even be on that stage. Does these never Trumpers and criticizing Donald Trump. I know this is what Christie really wants to do, but ultimately, it comes down to policy. And it seems that the Republican voter, at least, doesn't really care about the criticism leveled against the former president, at least within their own party.
Well, I think you saw in the debate itself, the only time I guess I was listening, I heard a lot of boos was when Christie really lashed into Trump. That was surprising to me. But at the same time, he's got a lot of supporters. Trump has got a lot of supporters, even though he's not on the stage. So it doesn't look like Christie's criticism of Trump or attacking Trump is really getting him a lot of traction. At the same time, I think where Vivek, yes, he supports Trump, and does he want to be vice presidential candidate? I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's going to be presidential candidate. Look, I mean, on the Biden side, and we really have to analyze this, Biden's age has come under criticism, and so is Trump's age in this debate. So they're both in this situation where I think they need to have very strong vice presidential candidates. And on the Biden side, the question is Kamala Harris a strong candidate for vice president? She's very, very unpopular in the idea that if Biden got elected, he'd have a strong vice president who could potentially be a successor. Who is going to do that for Trump? His whole hubris is, very problematic. If he said tomorrow, I'll take Nikki Haley, I don't agree with her, and she did a lot of things that I don't agree with, but I'll take her, what a ticket that would be. But Vivek maybe is trying to jockey into position to be the vice presidential candidate, because I don't think he's going to be the presidential candidate. That's a zero possibility. And some of the things that he says, and he was accused of being naive, I think this morning on Fox News, Brian Kilmeade said that was very naive, that he keeps talking about separating Russia and China. He does talk a lot about India and strengthening India, which is a very good point. I think I agree with that. But he compared separating Russia and China. Oh, gee, in World War II, we would have done very well if we separated Japan and Germany, which is so absurd an idea that it doesn't even register on the, worthy of discussion. Also, the other thing that was interesting is when they asked them, which president do you admire? And they had Washington, and that was Haley, and then they had Reagan, and they had Lincoln. And then I think DeSantis came up with Calvin Coolidge. And I think a lot of people were scratching their heads, who haven't studied American history recently. And he kind of clarified that today, where Calvin Coolidge was known as Silent Cal, and he never said more than a couple of words. I don't know. Was that sort of a deep, point about Vivek? I don't know, because he says so many words and so strongly. I didn't understand it. It really went by everybody. I didn't get it. So honestly, at the end of the day, the whole group is shrinking. Now we have 4. And it's almost like an Agatha Christie mystery. Then there were 12 and 11, and there were 10, and now there are 4, but there's still Trump. So there really are 5. So the next time, when we're going to look at this now down the road, coming into the primaries, it looks like, based on the rules of the Republican Party, that Trump will sew it up, because it's really a winner takes all, and he's way ahead of everybody. So, everybody is jockeying here to be number one, but Trump is the undisputed number one. So I think they're maybe trying for the second position. Christie doesn't have a chance to be a second position with Trump. That's for sure, because he's the never Trumper now. But as far as the others, maybe there's a chance there. I don't know. But I think you really, because of the age of Trump and Biden, the VP race becomes much more important than it usually is.
That's right. That's right. Many are concerned that Biden is just running to hand the White House keys over to Kamala Harris on day 2 if he should occupy the White House again after 2024. We'll have to wait and see. Mark, it's always great talking to you. Thank you so much for that analysis, and I'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you. All the best.